Keshi Nishudana.
Arjun said, O mighty armed one, I wish to understand the purpose of renunciation, Tyaga, and of the renounced order of life, sannyas. O killer of the caged demon, master of the senses.
18.2 Kamyanam karmananyasam sannyasam kavayo viduhu sarva karma phala tyagam prahustagyam vichikshana.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the giving up of activities that are based on material desire is what great learned men call the renounced order of life, sannyasa. And giving up the results of all the activities is what the wise call renunciation, tyaga.
18.3 Tyajam dosha vidityeke karma prahurmanishina yagna dana tapa karma na tyajamiti chapare.
Some learned men declare that all kind of fruitive activities should be given up as faulty, yet other sages maintain that acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance should never be abandoned.
18.4 Nishchaya shrunu me tatra tyage bharata sattama tyago hi purusha vyagra trividha samprakirtita.
O best of the Bharatas, now hear my judgment about renunciation. O tiger of men, renunciation is declared in the scriptures to be of three kinds.
18.5 Yagna dana tapa karma na tyajam karyameva tat yagno dana tapaschaiva pavanani manishinam.
Acts of sacrifice, charity, and penance are not to be given up. They must be performed. Indeed, sacrifice, charity, and penance purify even the great souls.
18.6 Etanyapi tu karmani sanga tyaktva falani cha kartya viniti me part nishchitam matamuttamam.
All these activities should be performed without attachment or any expectations of result. They should be performed as a matter of duty. O son of Pratha, that is my final opinion.
18.7 Niyatasya tu sannyasah karmano nopapadyate mohatasya parityagas tamasa parikirtita.
Prescribed duties should never be renounced. If one gives up prescribed duties because of illusion, such renunciation is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
18.8 Dukkamityeva yat karma kaya kalesha bhayantajet sakrutva rajasam tyagam naivam tyaga phalam labet.
Anyone who gives up prescribed duties as troublesome or out of fear of bodily discomfort is said to have renounced in the mode of passion. Such action never leads to the elevation of renunciation.
18.9 Karyamityeva yat karma niyatam kriyate arjuna sanga tyaktva phalam chaiva satyaga satviko mata.
O Arjun, when one performs his prescribed duties only because it's out of to be done, and renounces all the material association and all attachment to the fruit, his renunciation is said to be in the mode of goodness.
18.10 Nadveshya kushalam karma kushalena tyage sattva samavishto mega vichinna sanshaya.
The intelligent renouncer situated in the mode of goodness neither hateful of inauspicious work nor attached to the auspicious work, has no doubts about work.
18.11 Nahi deha bhuta shakyam tyaktum karmanya sheshatah yastu karma phala tyagi satyagitya.
It is indeed impossible for an embodied being to give up all activities, but he who renounces the fruits of action is called one who has fully renounced.
18.12 Anistam mistam mishram cha trividam karmana phalam bhavatyagina pretyam natu sannyasina kavachit.
For one who is not renounced, the threefold fruits of action, desirable, undesirable, and mixed, accrue after that. But those who are in the renounced order of life have no such results to suffer or enjoy.
18.13 Pachetani mahabaho karinani nibodhame sankhye krutate proktani siddhaye sarvakarmanam.
O mighty armed Arjuna, according to the Vedanta, there are 5 causes for the accomplishment of all action. Now learn of these from me.
18.14 Adhisthanam tatha karta karanam cha pruthak vidham vividascha pruthak chesta devam chaivatra panchamam.
The place of action, the body, the performer, the various senses, the many different kinds of endeavor, and ultimately the supersoul. These are the 5 factors of action.
18.15 Sharirvan manorbhiryet karta karma prarabdhenar nyayam cha vipritam va pachyate tasya hetava.
Whatever right or wrong action a man performs by body, mind, or speech is caused by these 5 factors.
18.16 Tatraivam sati kartaram atmanam kevalam tuya pashyatya kruta buddhitvan saparshyati durmatihi.
Therefore, one who thinks himself the only doer, not considering the 5 factors, is certainly not very intelligent and cannot see things as they are.
18.17 Yasanaham kruto bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate hatvapi sam iman lokan nahanti na nibadyate.
One who is not motivated by false ego, whose intelligence is not entangled, though he kills men in this world, does not kill, nor is he bound by his actions.
18.18 Gnanam gneyam parignata trividha karma chodana karanam karma karteti trividha karma sangraha.
Knowledge, the object of knowledge, and the knower are the 3 factors that motivate action. The senses, the work, and the doer are the 3 constituents of action.
18.19 Gnanam karma chakarta cha trideva gunabhedatah prochyate guna sankhyane yatha vruchanuttanyapi.
According to the 3 different modes of material nature, there are 3 kinds of knowledge: action and performer of action. Now hear of them from me.
18.20 Sarvabhuteshu yenekam bhavyamam abhimyamikshate avibhaktam vibhakteshu tagyanam viti satvikam.
That knowledge by which one undivided spiritual nature is seen in all living entities, though they are divided into innumerable forms, you should understand to be in the mode of goodness.
18.21 पृथक्त्वेन तु यज्ञानं नाना भावन् पृथग्विधान् वेति सर्वेषु भूतेषु तज्ज्ञानं विधिराजसम्.
That knowledge by which one sees that in every different body there is a different type of living entity, you should understand to be in the mode of passion.
18.22 यतु कृत्स्नं वदेकस्मिन् कार्ये सक्तं महेकृतम् अथर्त्वादं फलं च. I'm going to start again. यतु कृत्स्नस्वदेकस्मिन् कार्ये सक्तमहेतुकम् अथर्थात्वर्वदल्पं च तत्तामसमुदायुतम्.
And that knowledge by which one is attached to one kind of work as the all in all, without knowledge of the truth, and which is very meager, is said to be in the mode of darkness.
18.23 नियतं संगरिहितं रागद्वेषतः कृतम् अफलाप्रेप्सुना कर्म यत्यात्सेत् सात्विकम् उच्यते.
That action which is regulated and which is performed without attachment, without love or hatred, and without desire for fruitive results is said to be in the mode of goodness.
18.24 यत्तु कामेप्सुना कर्म साहंकारेण वा पुनः क्रियते बहुलायासां तद्राजसमुदायितम्.
But action performed with great effort by one seeking to gratify his desires and enacted from a sense of false ego is called action in the mode of passion.
18.25 अनुबन्धं क्षयं हिंसाम् अनुपेक्ष्य च पौरुषं मोहादरभ्यते कर्म यत तामसमुच्यते.
That action performed in illusion, in disregard of scriptural injunction, and without concern for future bondage or for violence or distress caused to the others, is said to be in the mode of ignorance.
Hare Krishna. Please forgive me for my any mistakes, Prabhuji and Vaishnav devotees.
And mine too. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu Mataji, you did it really well, and so did you, Sunita Mataji. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone. Today being a Monday, I see we have less devotees who have joined. But our regulars are here. Madan Mohan Prabhu has joined us today. That's wonderful. Hare Krishna. So we will continue with our reading of chapter 18. Today, we will focus on text number 10. So let me share my slides. And as we traditionally do, we'll chant the Mangala Charanam prayers first. And please, if you like to, you can join me behind your muted mics. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Atitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vashari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prashtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschachya Dishatarine. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So today we will read text number 10. Yesterday we had a very interesting discussion when we read about text number 9, where the Lord has been describing in that verse renunciation in the mode of goodness. And we discussed some key aspects of the mentality of such a person. So in this verse, the Lord is now going to describe the wise renunciant. You get many types of renunciants, or people who are endeavoring to become renounced. Actually, the majority of the people, they have no interest in renunciation. But those who are on the spiritual path, they understand that spiritual life means becoming detached from the material, becoming attached to the spiritual. So in relation to becoming detached from the material, a renunciation is required. So as we've been reading in Bhagavad Gita, there are different types of people who have an understanding that renunciation is required. But there is confusion among many people about what renunciation really means. So in this verse, verse number 10, Krishna is just going to describe the mentality and the mood of the wise renunciant. So let us read. Na dveshti akushalam karma koshale nanusajjate tyagi sattva samo vishto medhavi chinasam shayaha. Synonyms, word for word. Na, never. Dveshti, hates. Akushalam, inauspicious. Karma, work. Kushale, in the auspicious. Na, no. Anusajyate, becomes attached. Tyagi, the renouncer. Sattva, in goodness. Samavishtaha, absorbed. Medhavi, intelligent. China, having cut off. Samshaya, all doubts. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The intelligent renouncer, situated in the mode of goodness, neither hateful of inauspicious work, nor attached to auspicious work, has no doubts about work. How nice if we could be in this position. No doubts about work, meaning always we are clear about what needs to be done. And when one is clear about what is to be done, there is no hesitation. There is complete peace of mind. There is conviction in what one does. So this is indeed a very desirable situation to be in, that the Lord is describing in this verse. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. A person in Krishna consciousness or in the mode of goodness does not hate anyone or anything which troubles his body. He does work in the proper place and at the proper time without fearing the troublesome effects of his duty. Such a person situated in transcendence should be understood to be the most intelligent and beyond all doubts in his activities. Such a nice verse. Sometimes there is a desire to know or understand who's the most intelligent. And people have different criteria. Some criteria means how many degrees they have, maybe how many PhDs. Some is how good they can remember facts. Some is how good they are at mathematics. Some is how good they are at making decisions. So there are different criteria for determining who's intelligent. Srila Prabhupada is saying here that the person situated in transcendence is to be understood to be the most intelligent person. And one of the symptoms is they have no doubts in their activities. No doubts. They can work at any place, or they can act in any place or any time without fear. Prabhupada says this is the symptom of one who has no doubts. You ask them to do anything, or if they are asked to do by the right authorities, they can do it at any place without consideration of whether it's proper or not, whether it's proper time or no proper time. And they are fearless. They are fearless. And we shall discuss a bit today, how does one arrive at such a transcendental position? We've been discussing it in the past few verses. But maybe before I speak, I always speak, I'd like to maybe hear from the devotees what their opinion is, how one arrives at such a transcendental position being described in verse. Now, sometimes it's a bit difficult when I ask a question because many of you may want to speak. If you look at the bottom of your screen, there's something called reactions. Reactions. And if you type reactions, there's something called raise your hand. Does everyone know how to raise their hand on Zoom?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, so you can raise your hand and then I could see who's raised their hand. So the question I am asking is, we've just described now this wonderful transcendental position where one gets situated on this transcendental position, has no doubts. And when they work, they can work without fear, without worry about time or circumstances. And my question is, how do you think one arrives at such a position? I'd like to hear from you. Have any of you had any? Oh, there's a few hands gone up. Rupa Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, my humble obeisances.
Humble obeisances to you too.
I think one who is always acting according to the spiritual master's instructions, they can reach that position. Like obviously, like Srila Prabhupada, he always in the back of his mind, his Guru Maharaj's instruction was always there, and he made it possible just because he followed his Guru Maharaj's instruction. So he was not afraid to do anything.
Very nice answer. Very nice answer. So Rupa Mataji is saying if one acts according to the Guru, one will immediately be situated in that position. Puja Mataji, you also raised your hand.
Yes, I feel that one who is detached from his work and who works, knows that his work and he's not related to the fruits of his activities. He knows that, and gives his fruits of activities all for the Krishna. Krishna says, whatever you do, offer it to me. In that way, he's working with absolutely peace of mind anywhere and everywhere.
Okay, so you are saying if he works according to Krishna's instructions, he'll be like that, without fear, without doubt.
Yes.
Nice answer. Sharad Prabhu, did you raise your hand for a while there?
I did, yes. Yeah. I would say that it is really fully trusting Krishna that whatever he does and he decides for you is for the best. So not fear in doing whatever he chooses.
Can I ask you one question in that regard, Prabhu? And I'm just playing a bit of devil's advocate here, if you don't mind.
Sorry?
So if you said if one acts according to what Krishna wants us to do,
Mm-hmm.
like in Arjuna's case, he had Krishna standing in front of him. He could ask Krishna. In our case, we don't have Krishna standing in front of us. You know, many dilemmas about what we should do or we should do arise in our daily lives. So how will we know what Krishna wants us to do on a moment-to-moment basis?
I guess if you have full faith in him, then you don't question it.
Full faith, okay. So you're saying by full faith, it gets revealed to you. I guess that's
Right.
what you said.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. So let me move along and just see anyone else has raised their hands. Oh, Bhagavati Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I don't know, whatever everyone said, like following gurus, have faith in Krishna. Well, I said eventually, that slow transformation takes place in such person performing karma yoga,
Mm-hmm.
which is the same as performing maybe some sort of sattvic tyaga,
Mm-hmm.
and slowly recognize his true nature. And then, he's just doing it, sense of no attachment for any fruit, or he's fit for liberation, or there is some action that he loves to perform. That sort of thing he should be doing it, because he
Okay.
just realized that he's not performing any action. Everything is done by Krishna. That's more realization for Krishna,
Okay. Can I ask you a question, Bhagavati Mataji, if you
Yeah.
don't mind?
Go ahead.
Could you tell us and the devotees on today's platform, what do you understand as the difference between karma yoga and bhakti yoga?
Karma yoga is the action you are taking all the time. Action in action, we call it. And bhakti yoga is where you have pure devotional service towards Krishna, and you're working and doing things for Krishna with all your bhav and love. That's what I think. Devotional service is very important.
And the karma yogi, who is he doing it for?
Karma yogas they are doing it. There are two ways for people who take in action. They can do it like for Krishna, or sometimes they are if they are doing it is more or less, or they're doing it for the fruits for themselves.
For themselves. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Vishalini Mataji, did you have your hand up for a while?
Yes, I did. Prabhu, I think when they have transcended all three modes of nature, and that's when they are in pure sattva, Vishuddha sattva,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when they know their relationship with the Lord and as an Atma, and they don't have to worry about other people's and so they don't have any doubt.
Okay.
Because they know exactly what they are doing.
So you're saying when we come to the mode of goodness, we'll know without doubt what needs to be done, what needs not needs to be done.
Goodness is still a little bit mixed, but when you transcend even goodness.
Yeah. Okay. You're saying, so essentially what I hear you saying is if when one comes to the mode of Suddha Sattva, above goodness, then you have no doubts. Is that what you're
And
saying?
yes, yes. But
Alright.
in mode of goodness, we still might have hint of doubts here and there. I mean, not doubts, but in mode of goodness, it's not that pure Suddha-sattva. And you might get a doubt sometimes, but in Suddha-sattva, you don't have any doubts.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mataji. And Sunita, Mataji has written the Karma Yoga for Personal Desire. So it's interesting. Some very nice insights you all have given about how one comes to the stage. And that essentially, this is the stage we should aspire for. And we should have some understanding of how we reach that stage, or how we can recognize someone else who has reached that stage. Because if for some reason we have some doubts about our own work, we may have to, and we recognize and we admit, I am in doubt. Right? In this situation, I don't know how to act properly. And if in that situation we know we can consult somebody who is beyond doubt, that person can help us. Isn't that true? So it's important for us to also understand, how do we recognize that person who has reached the stage that Krishna is describing here? He has no doubts about work. So let me see if anyone else. Yes, spiritual objectives. I just wanted to, before I move forward, just make, again, we've discussed it a few times, the difference between karma yoga and bhakti yoga. There's two types of karma yoga: sakam karma yoga and nishkam karma yoga. Sakam karma yoga means one who works, he gives some of the fruits of his work to the Lord, but he's attached both to the fruits and to the work. The nishkam karma yogi, he has no attachment to the fruits of the work, but he has attachment to the work itself. He likes doing that type of work. But the bhakti yogi is someone who has neither attachment to the fruits or work itself. That means at any time, if the spiritual master or the guru will ask them to do some other type of work, they'll happily do it. But a karma yogi, if the guru or Krishna asks them to do some other type of work, they may struggle. Although they have no attachment for the fruits, because they are attached to the work itself, they may struggle to do what Guru or Krishna asks. And they will have some doubts. They will have some hesitancy. So in one sense, this verse and the purport is really describing the bhakti yogi. Is that distinction clear to everyone? Would anyone like any more clarity on what I've just said? Because it's an important point to understand.
Can you, Prabhuji?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. What do you mean they are attached to the work? It means they like some particular type of the work and do not like to do some other type of the work?
Yeah, the common example I give, and I've given it in the sessions before. There is this man, he's growing mangoes, right? And his tree gives 100 mangoes. So the Sakam Karma Yogi, he will say, okay, Krishna, you take 50 mangoes. I'll keep 50 mangoes, right? So he's attached to some fruit. And I like being a mango farmer. So the Nishkam Karma Yogi, he gets 100 mangoes. He says, Krishna, I am not attached to these mangoes. You can have all 100. How much you want to give me back, that's up to you. But if you tell him if Krishna comes or the Guru comes and tells him, you know what, I want you to stop growing mangoes today, and from tomorrow I want you to grow carrots, because Krishna likes carrot juice. Krishna wants carrot. He will say, no, 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 no. I like growing mangoes. Please don't ask me to grow carrots. I don't like digging ground. I don't like to grow carrots. I just like growing mangoes. So this person, Puja Mataji, is attached to the work.
Yes.
He's not attached to the fruit, but he's attached to the work. You understand the difference?
Yes. Yeah. But having said that, in some professionals, they can only do some type of the work. They can't do all types of the work, isn't it?
Actually, all of us, we have the capability, even if we not be perfect, whatever the Guru asks us to do, we'll have some capability of doing that, even if we can't do it perfectly. That's the point. The point is the consciousness, Mataji.
Yes.
It's not the ability. It's the consciousness of wanting to do anything for the pleasure of Guru and Krishna. That's bhakti.
Okay. Yeah.
You understand?
Yes. Yes. Absolute.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Anyone else likes to add to that point or seek any clarity? Oh, Bhagavati Mataji, you wanted to say something? Or was that your hand from the past?
No, it was from the past, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay.
You're explaining very well. Thank you.
All right. Okay. So let's carry on. So we'll just look at it from Arjuna's position also, because it's interesting. In one sense, this verse is very applicable to Arjuna. So Arjuna, Krishna was asking him to fight. And he was thinking, this is very inauspicious. This type of fighting is very inauspicious because I have to fight my relatives. And he was feeling a bit hateful of this fighting. So Krishna had to bring him around to this. This is what Krishna had to bring Arjuna around to. Nitai Mataji, I see you raised your hand. Did you want to add something?
Yes, Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you. I was thinking whenever we accept whatever Guru says, so the empowerment also comes within, like with his instructions.
True.
So it means it automatically becomes possible. I don't know this much. That's what I thought.
That's a good point, Mataji. Mukam karoti vachalam pangam layate girim. That by the order of Guru, anything can happen. A lame man can walk, dumb man can speak. Good point, Mataji. With the instruction comes empowerment. So getting back to Arjuna's position, Arjuna was, he had doubts about work. He had doubts about what he should do. And just one clarification about the word karma or work. Sometimes we take it to mean just some job in which we get payment. But work or karma, it has many different translations. It can mean activity or it can mean action. It could mean anything. So in this verse here, it's telling, the description is given about, the consciousness. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a beautiful verse in which the Lord is expressing, this is a verse I think it's quoted from the Bhagavatam. Krishna is explaining how he views such a person in the consciousness of this verse. He says, one who is free from all material jubilation, hatred, lamentation, and desire, who renounces both materially auspicious and materially inauspicious things, and who is devoted to me is very dear to me. So some of the doubts we have is this work right for me? Will some harm come if I do this work? Will this work make me happy? That is the doubts that arise when one acts according to the dictates of the mind or the intelligence. Prabhupada says in the purport, he does not care, he works in the proper place and at the proper time without fearing the troublesome effects of his duty. One who is situated in this platform, no work is trouble for them. There's one story once Srila Prabhupada's disciple, Bhakti Swarup Damodar Das, he was talking to Srila Prabhupada and he was complaining about different things that were happening in the temple and with his interactions with devotees and how challenging it was for him. And then suddenly he realized that he was too much in a complaining mode. And then he looked at Srila Prabhupada and he said, Srila Prabhupada, I'm so sorry. Here I am, I'm complaining about, petty little things. But look in your life. You had to go through so much of trouble to print books, so much of trouble to come to America, so much of trouble to establish the society, so much of trouble every day from all different angles. I'm sorry, that I'm complaining. I feel so bad when I think about how much trouble you're going through. Prabhupada said, trouble? I don't see any trouble. I only see service to my spiritual master. I don't see any trouble. And when I heard this pastime of Srila Prabhupada, it was so insightful that how, one can be in this consciousness of not seeing anything, of not being in fear of anything. And the other stories, because of time's moving on now, I just wanted to discuss one important point in the context of devotional service. Oftentimes in devotional service, we may be given some service and we may find ourselves being a bit unhappy or uncomfortable with the service that we are given. We may look at some other devotee and thinking, they're getting such nice service. They're cooking in the deity kitchen and I'm just sweeping the temple. I'm just cleaning. Just look at that pujari on the altar. They got such nice service. And what service have I got? I must sit at the book table. I must go out on Sankirtan. Sometimes in our consciousness, we also find certain service we have as inauspicious, so-called inauspicious, because we've developed an aversion to it. I want to read to you this beautiful letter Srila Prabhupada wrote to Jayapataka, I think it was Swami or Das, in 1972, 19th of December. It's very insightful, very, very insightful. I'd like to share it with you. Prabhupada writes, if there is some discrepancy anywhere, some non-cooperation, fighting, or if the work is slow or not to the standard, it is to be supposed that the person or persons in charge are not very much attached to Krishna. That means they will discriminate. My engagement is not good. Others' engagement is good, like that. They do not know the secret of surrendering to Krishna. Such surrendered devotee sees that everything is part of Krishna's plan. That whatever is meant to be, I am doing that. So let me do it with my full attention to every detail. Let me become absorbed in such service. Never mind what it is, but let all other considerations be forgotten. And my only desire to do the best thing for Krishna's alone pleasure be my motive. That is an advanced stage of understanding devotional service or Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much for your kindly coming to the point. This is so beautifully written by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada says, if we can come or have this consciousness that the service that I have been given, this is Krishna's plan for me. This is what Krishna will make me happy. If I'm given the service to clean toilets, this is what Krishna wants me to do, clean toilets. And if Krishna sees me cleaning toilets, he's going to be happy. If Krishna, let me absorb myself. Let me clean this toilet to the best of my ability. Let me feel full satisfaction that what I'm doing is for the pleasure of Krishna. If we can act in that consciousness that whatever service we've been given or are being given by our authorities, by the Guru, that is Krishna's plan for me. And if I absorb myself, that would lead to so much of pleasure for myself and pleasure for Krishna. Obviously, we understand when Krishna is pleased, then we become pleased. So this is the secret that Srila Prabhupada has revealed about how to work and how to work in the right consciousness. And when we work in that consciousness, that's when the purport of this verse comes alive. It achieves its full meaning. So I'll stop there. I'll take any questions, comments, or reflections that anyone may have.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Sapra Mataji.
I just wanted to know that Arjuna fought because Krishna convinced him to fight.
Yes.
What type of karma it is you describe? Is it Nishkam karma or Shakam karma or none of these?
So Arjuna actually, Mataji, he is a pure devotee of Krishna. He is willing to do whatever Krishna wants him to do. But for the Lord to speak Bhagavad Gita, he put Arjuna in illusion, like how we fall into illusion, just so he could instruct Arjuna for our benefit, so that we could get the benefit. So Arjuna's illusion about not wanting to fight, at one point he told Krishna, I think it's better if I go to the forest. And so from an external point of view, it would seem that, he was either Sakam Karma Yoga, maybe even Nishkam, but he was not on the platform of Bhakti. That was external. That was just Krishna putting him under this illusion for our benefit. We understand that ultimately Arjuna is always a pure devotee. But just for even Krishna to speak Bhagavad Gita, he was allowing himself to become under illusion. That's how we see Arjuna's position in reality. But externally, people may see Arjuna's condition that he was not even, Krishna was trying to bring him to the platform of Nishkam Yoga. That's how Krishna, he talks about Karma Yoga and so on in the Gita. But ultimately, when we come to 1866, Krishna reveals the truth. Because all this talk about Karma Yoga, it doesn't really satisfy Krishna. Krishna says, Sarva Dharma Parichaja Mam Ekam Sharanam Vraja. He says, just Arjuna, you just forget everything I told you before this, right? I'm now going to tell you straight off what is the best way to act. What's the best way to act? You just surrender to me, you work for my pleasure, and I will protect you from all sinful reaction. Krishna said it very directly at the end of this chapter. Before that, Krishna is giving all options for different people at different levels. Does that make sense to you, Mataji? Do you want any more clarification?
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
So I was saying the Nishkam, Sakam, and Bhakti, that also applies to service, you said, when we are performing service, say, at the temple. When we are not attached to our service, when we are happy to share our service with other people, because we don't own that service. We're doing it for the pleasure of Krishna.
Yes.
So sometimes people become quite attached to the service that they're doing, and they don't like sharing their service.
Yes.
Yeah. And so I was just wondering is that when we do our service, we need to leave our ego aside, and we need to say that this is the service that I am performing for Krishna with total absorption, and
Yes.
as recommended by my spiritual master, or as recommended by authorities in the temple, or whoever's chosen that service for us.
Yes. And at any point in time, if the authority or the spiritual master wants you to give up that service and do something else for the pleasure of Krishna, we do it with full-heartedness.
Full-heartedness. So in engaging other people in the service, because I was thinking of this example of Yashoda Mai when she was tying Krishna. She was so absorbed in that service with Krishna that she was also engaging other gopis in tying. So does Krishna like when we engage other people in the service?
Yes, Radharani likes it very much.
Yes. So the best thing is to not just do service yourself with absorption, but also to engage other people in the service.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Nice.
Sorry.
It's a nice extension of what I was saying, Mataji. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So we have some comments here. Santosh Mataji has written, when we obey and carry out the wishes of our spiritual master, it helps us spiritually because we followed our spiritual master's instructions. Does that apply to the spiritual master too, who was given the instructions? Namely, that the spiritual master is elevated to a much higher elevation. Thank you. I'm not sure if I understand your question. Santosh Mataji, would you mind to explain it a bit more, please?
Hare Krishna. Yes, I was wondering the proportion of elevation.
Yes.
Are we elevated at an equal rate as a spiritual master would be elevated, or is our elevation at a much lower level than the spiritual masters?
It's generally it's lower, and the reason it's lower is because of our material desires. You know, we still have to go through further purification, in the sense that we have material desires, or we may have some other anarthas, you know, and there's a variety of anarthas arising from one's previous karma, and so on. So these anarthas, even though we may have the best intentions, somehow or the other, they serve as obstacles. But the spiritual master, he's reached a level of purity that those anarthas don't come as inhibitors to the service. So although we may have the best intentions, the best desires, because of our anarthas, sometimes we are held back, and sometimes our service cannot be of the quality that one who is of a higher level of purity can execute the service. You know, sometimes we may want to do it, but the mind may distract us. You know, the desires will take us here. So to answer your question, no. The spiritual master, by dint of his higher level of purity, is on a different level.
So may I ask a further question leading on
Sure.
from explanation?
Yeah.
So the more instructions a spiritual master gives, and the more his followers follow the instructions, so the more instructions are given by a spiritual master, does that mean to say that the spiritual master can very quickly rise to a very high level?
I'm trying to draw the connection between the spiritual master giving instructions and that elevating him.
If the instructions are followed by his devotees.
You mean, will the spiritual master advance if his devotees are following his instructions?
Yes.
Oh, no. No, it's the devotees that advance by following the spiritual masters. The spiritual master is already advanced, he's already very pure. So his advancement is not dependent on his devotees' advancement.
I see. Okay. I thought the more
It's independent. No.
I see. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Any other questions, comments, reflections, corrections? No one? All right. Thank you very much, dear devotees, for your participation, your lovely questions, and your encouragement. All glories to your service. Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyo Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo
Namo
Ananta Koti Vaishnava